I absolutely love Tuesday nights because we get to talk about marketing, we get to talk about business, mindset, all kinds of really great things. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the live. Thank you for being on the replay. If you're watching the replay, by the way, my name is Joey Ragona. I've got my good friend Scott Vogel. He's there as always every Tuesday night. Just always, and I really gotta thank you for that because it's been, we talk about this almost every single episode of like how far we've come in the last 3 years, 3.5 years, or something, going on to four, and yeah, consistency, man. So consistency is a big thing, and thank you for being here, bro. Doing okay?
Doing fantastic, thank you. And last week's show was really powerful because throughout the week those C's kept coming up with commitment and confidence and courage and clarity and weaving through a lot of conversations that I was having. And I'm
Nice,
reading a book. I'm reading this book now called Ikigai. I don't know if
nice.
you've read that
I
one.
have not
Great
read
book.
that.
It's just, again, it's about being in flow. It's a culmination of a lot we know and we talk about. It's just good when you're in there. And again, I would say, okay, you made a commitment, and so it's about the commitment. And yeah, we made a commitment, and it's like, okay, doesn't matter what, it's Tuesday night and we get to do this, and it's just a joy. And we've talked about this before, that it's a learning experience for others because the consistency, forget about
Right.
anything else, but the fact that, in casual conversations, yeah, I do a live with my dear friend buddy. We've done it 176 weeks straight. We've never missed one. We talk about marketing and mindset and direct response and systems and this and everything, and it's just so powerful. And just to be able to say that in conversation and not in grandiosity or braggart, but
Right.
it's a commitment. And so when somebody looks at one of us and says, I wonder, if this dude's going to be around in 6 months, or should I hire this person? And they go looking, and it's like, holy crap, these guys are all, there's all these shows and this, and they can look and that. And again, there's so many people that just, this is free. It's never cost us a penny to do this, but it's
Right.
only helped others. And again, it's only helped others and serve. So I know you're excited. I know you got a lot of things going on. So what's happening in the world of Marketing Made Easy on Tuesday, June 13th?
Wow. Yeah. Well, June 13th. I can't believe it was, it's June 13th. Got to congratulate my daughter, by the way. She graduated college today. So, Nicole, just love you and so proud of you.
Yay,
So she
Nicole,
graduated.
congratulations. That's fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was one of those days where I'm not out of I was basically out of my element, I guess, because that's kind of thrown in, which is a good thing. So I was running downtown, then I came back out here to do the Academy show. Had my good friend Steve Sims on, and we had an epic show. So I wanted to like piggyback off of what we talked about there. And he was talking a lot about another C, which was consistency in what we do. And we'll come back to that too. But so that's basically what my day was like. Had a couple of really good epic days. This week's been off to a really, really great start, and the weekend was off to a great start. Congratulating my buddy Gio and Stephanie, who got married on Friday.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so
Congratulations.
I want to congratulate them
Wow.
officially. So that was a great time. But so it's been one of those great whirlwind type of last few days, weekend, and all that. So today, Steve was on. We were talking a lot about being real, like being who you are. And so I figured
Joey,
I
do
I
me a
just
favor real quick. Intro, just for those that don't know, Steve, just give a quick, like, brief who, what, why about Steve.
yeah, Steve Sims is, in one sentence, is the real life Wizard of Oz. He gets stuff done. Like whatever you want done, he's the connector. He's connected to you name it. Like, when you hear him talk about stuff, he's dropping some huge names. He doesn't do it to elevate his status, but he's connected to you name the person, he's connected to them, and he just gets stuff done. And so, but he's real. He's you Google him and you'll see him, and he's this biker dude, who's rubbing shoulders with the Pope, and giving cell phones to the Queen, kind of thing. So you'd never know, like, holy crap, like, how does this happen? And it all happens because of you just being real. And so I loved bringing him on because, and connecting him, we connected with the Academy group and the Atlas group. And because that's all we talk about, right? Atlas is all about just stand up and show up who you are. Don't be afraid to showcase what you are, all of your flaws, all of the things. You don't have to reveal everything to the world. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, the more you step into who you are and not worry about people judging you or laughing at you or anything, the more you stand out to the right clients. And so the conversation today was epic. It was all around that, and it really opened a lot of eyes because coming from another person, especially in
Mm.
that level, you can see a lot of breakthroughs happen. So I wanted to talk about that today.
Consistency, you again, there's you see, you mentioned it. It's so vital. It's so important because we've told a lot of stories and there's parables about, the person that gave up before this happened and this happened and this and this, but it's about being consistent with one thing, and it just keeps coming back to that as well. I was on with someone yesterday and it was like, I want to do this and I want to do this. I said, which one are you going to do? Which one will you be consistent with? And it's an easy word to say,
Yeah,
but it's not a easy thing to do. Be consistent, to show up each day and do it consistently, and whatever, it's commitment to show up consistently. And there's just, especially in this online entrepreneurial journey,
right.
where we walk into our man caves, our woman caves, our whatever rooms, areas, thingies, and then the world goes away pretty much. Where I was talking today, there's no cubicles around where other people are like kind of feeding off yours and you're feeding off their energy. And you're like, kind of, okay, well, Steve's over here and Susan's over here. I got to get my stuff done. Here, we can just do whatever we want pretty much. So go.
Yeah. So I just want to I'll show the books. This is the book actually of Steve. The first one was Blue Fishing. And this was the book that uh, really helped me. I've always been one of those people who really didn't care what other people think, but I'm
Uh-huh.
not the best at, building relationships or looking for clues on how to build relationships. And that was where Blue Fishing kind of helped. And we'll talk a little bit about that. His latest book is this one, Go for Stupid. And so thanks, Steve, by the way, for watching this. And what's really great about this is that, what he said today even was there's like little nuggets when you're like really listening to like what the thing is, like what's the message here. And it's like he said, I show up like this and I dress like this, or my hair looks like this, whatever. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to put any energy into doing it. I just show up the way that I am. And I love that because that's what I said to my wife years and years ago. I said, there's going to be a point. I want my business to be where all I need to do is get on a plane and bring this, and that's it. Like I don't have to pack. I don't have to do anything, and I just show up and I talk. And here I am. We've been doing this now for over 3 years, and that's what we do. We show up on Tuesdays. We don't have, yeah, we might have a couple of ideas, like let's talk about this, or have a little bit of notes here and there. But generally, it's like whatever. It goes wherever it goes, and if it goes off track, who cares? Because it's not like, well, I didn't memorize that. How am I supposed to talk about that, right? It's just like this is what we do and what we know, and all the screw ups and the problems with video or something and everything. Who cares? The time when we tried to go live and at that Janet Jackson concert, dude. Like, whatever happens, happens. That's just the way it is.
It goes back to how you started with what Steve talks about is showing up consistently as you. And yes, showing, you don't share every skeleton. Hi, Marcus. Every skeleton, every deep, dark secret from your past. But hey, I screwed this up. I had this thing and it didn't work. I had this learning experience rather than, oh, I did this and I did this and I did, and I'm great and I've never made a
Yeah.
mistake and I've made all this money. Somebody was talking to someone. It's like, Yeah, but they don't tell you the 10,000 things that happened over 20 years to get them to the point where all of a sudden they had this thing that was hugely successful. An overnight success takes time, and it is about that. You look at any of our 170 now 6 shows, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing. And like you say all the time, when somebody gets on a call with us, whether it's in Atlas or whether it's in Academy or Synergy or on your stuff or my stuff, that's it. This is what it is. This is what I look like this morning. This is what I look like tomorrow. And there's no pretension of, oh, I got to put on this and I've got to bring this whole aura of different. No, if I think your stuff isn't good, I'm going to tell you. If I
Yeah.
think this is what I'm going to say. Go.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's like, one thing I learned from Steve as well, which it was I was talking to I saw him a couple of months ago. Felt like a couple months ago, but anyway, he was talking about the different social platforms, and I immediately went onto the social platforms because I knew I was doing exactly what he said, which was that we show up differently on these platforms, right? Because somebody said, well, LinkedIn is business and you can't do anything over there and that's not business like, or whatever. TikTok is this and that. And he said, go look at all your profile pictures. Are they all the same? And why aren't they? And I knew mine wasn't. So I started to meet, like, as soon as he said that, I was like trying to change all of my pictures to be exactly the same, because he's absolutely right. It's like, why would you show up differently on LinkedIn? Why?
Right.
Just because it's supposed to be a thing. And this is what I want to like share with everybody is, don't be afraid to be who you are, no matter where the thing is. You're not gonna be a jerk about it. You don't go on and try to bust in the room and try to, disrupt things. But at the same time, it's like, well, if that's not who you are, your picture's different because it's on a, on a social platform because it's supposed to be business, then that's not being truly who you are. And that's why I titled this, I don't know if you saw the title, play on words, but marketing reels, which is really you.
I did not see that. And I don't know if you see that Jeffrey's here in the
Yep.
Facebook
Yep.
and
I got it
Marcus
here.
is over. Okay, I just checking, and Marcus
Got them.
is
Hey,
cool.
Jeffrey, good to see you. Did you check it out, Marcus? Yeah. So you went there too, right? Did you, and changing your profile picture? Yeah. It's just the simple things of, showing up who you are. And I remember one of my first clients for Atlas actually bought because it was on LinkedIn where she found me and she was kind of watching through there. And I remember her distinctly saying this, that she said, the moment of truth for me about you was when you said on LinkedIn, she specifically said it was on LinkedIn, because you can't reveal stuff in LinkedIn, where you couldn't do math in your head, or that you failed. No, it was that you failed high school. That was it. When you admitted you failed high school on LinkedIn, that was it for me. I knew that you were not full of it. And because that association was there, like, okay, everybody's resume's perfect over here. They don't want, right. And I was going on this going, I didn't even finish high school. Right. So,
Yeah.
and it's in my profile, it's all there. So he's like, so anyway, what are your thoughts on that? And I'd like to hear from the crew, by the way, if you're here. Thank you for being here live.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from Marcus on, he loves habits and the consistency piece that was talked about and his take. And thanks, Marcus. Uh, Again, it's commitment and consistency, no matter what, to show up on the Tuesday, and it is the long haul. And thank you, Joey, for putting in the Heart Centered Marketing Club link in the group. And as always, if you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay. So all of the multitude of gods out there in the ether know that something we're doing is getting out there.
Well, when we talk about the realism, I want to hear like your thought, like what do you do, or anything about that along those lines. And we were just talking before the show, like how my last couple days have gone and some of the epic, things that have happened, the connections and all this stuff. And I truly believe, actually, I know it's because of a consistency over the last 4.5 years now of like Atlas or Dream clients, and right, like what I stand for and being real. And that's it. Like, I think those two connections that alone have put my name out there a little bit more to other people. I think it's all because of that. It was just here's the lane that I'm sticking to, and I don't care what anybody thinks. Here's what it is. What do you think?
I
Not about me,
agree
but
with
anything about that comment and how it
well,
pertains to you.
I agree you and blue fishing. That's what I was doing before earlier. It's over here somewhere. The book.
You have it,
A
right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
just like I said, I didn't know if it was like close by reach. I got books everywhere. I don't have
Yeah.
shelves. I just got piles. First of all, yes, watching you just be Dream Client, Atlas, Joey, do different. That's it. Nothing. That hasn't changed since we started chatting 4 years ago, whatever it's been. And for anyone, same thing. I love engaging with people and discovering people and their spirits and their souls. So it doesn't matter where I go. I can do it on here. Doesn't matter who, I'll engage with them because I love people. And anywhere I go, I'll do it. And that's the same way, the same thing, the same stories. I talk about the same things. It's not like, wait a second, where am I? What am I going to talk about here? And who do I need to be here? No, I'm me. I'm a yogi. I'm a marketer. I'm a guy that does a bunch of stuff. I saw a great T-shirt the other day, and says, "I do things and I know stuff." And I'm like, I love it. I do things and I know stuff. It's like we were talking
Nice.
earlier. You want to show up and just be you, and then there's no preparation necessary. When I used to speak on the platform, I would do that. It was scary as hell. I'd keynote and I'd get up there and I wouldn't say anything for a minute or two just to see what was coming. And then
Was
I'd
there any
start,
part of your career that you weren't you?
oh, yeah. Oh, God,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Way back when in my other life, I wasn't me. I was, don't you know who I think I am? That's who I suffered from. Don't you know I'm the keynote speaker? Don't you
Mm.
know I'm this? Where's my suite and where's all this? And I was
So how does
entitled.
that? So okay, but that might be ego. Like I understand that, but how does that? How did that differ? Because I'm just trying to, like, for anybody listening, how did that differ from who you were? Can you
Well,
parallel
back
that?
then, what's that?
Can you like tie that together?
Yeah, because I wasn't selfless. I was I was I was selfish. I was
Uh,
self-centered, self-willed, self-seeking. I wasn't all about giving, serving, loving. It was how much can I consume? What can I get? How many clients? How much money?
mm,
And that just I was showing up as me then because that's who I was.
mm,
But then that changed. I mean, I show up the same way when I present, when I teach, when I consult, train, coach, whatever, but it was the motives behind it. And people knew that. And I once made an apology to one of the board of directors of a foundation that I sat on. And I didn't know that I needed to apologize, but I did anyway. And he said, "Yeah, you were a real asshole."
mm.
And I was like, "Holy crap." And I was,
I'm going to
because
come
I
back to
was,
Marcus's for a second because I want to pick up on what you just said there, because there's
go.
I might have shared this before, but I'll share it again because in context with this, because to your point about when being on stage and when I started speaking in the real estate industry, when I was going to one of the events and the whatever the organization, the dude like says to me and before I went on, make sure that you promote the thing, like the company.
Yeah.
And that's not what I was supposed to do. It was supposed to be about my, fear and all these other kind of things. And I felt really awkward. He goes like, make sure you stick in enough about, join the membership. Right. And I'm like, okay, like, and I really felt awkward. So I got up and I did my thing. And then I figured a way to actually weave it in to my conversation and not make it just a blatant, you should join this thing. But I did say that, like, you should join this thing, but it was true. So I felt like I didn't step into somebody that I wasn't. I didn't do it because I wouldn't have done it. I just would have got off stage and got in trouble. Like, he was like, you're supposed to do that. Well, too bad, man. Right.
Right.
But what I did is like, you know what? I'm here because of this organization, and I have an amazing opportunity to speak to all of you about the stuff that I love, and it's because of this. And I would not have bought real estate and all this kind of stuff because of them. And if you're thinking about that and wealth and all that, I really think this is a great membership to join. Like because it was the truth.
Right.
but it wasn't more like, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you didn't like bro marketing back then either, dude. That's what bro marketing. And but no, I want to jump in here because yeah, there's a difference. I showed up as who I was. I just happened to have been an asshole.
Hmm.
And I was again, it was about how much could I get, as opposed to now life is about how can I serve, how can I transform lives, and the rest will come, and the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
spiritual. So, and Marcus got a great point in here too. I love it.
So I'll let you read that first one.
Um, that first one, that's interesting,
Okay, well,
because I mean
first
I'll
one
read it.
is,
I see it. We all fine tune things to make it suit to what we think people would like. Exactly.
and then the second one
Here we go.
is,
I've just started making the tribe, building, I guess, the tribe, curating the tribe, Marcus,
yep,
as Joey says. And yeah, it is hard. Anything that's worth doing is challenging. But I put myself out there to serve, and damn, it's not easy. No, it's not, because sometimes you're just talking to invisible people who are not telling you they're there,
yep.
watching from the sidelines, as Joey says. A lot of work for what seems no returns. Well, again, there's the expectation instead of the intention piece, Jeffrey. And yet you guys have been doing this so long. Take
Yeah,
any
this is
piece
a
of that
great,
you want.
this is like, thank you for being vulnerable about this, Marcus, and I applaud you, because it's not easy, first of all, to say that, because I know that we go through this, and you're absolutely right. There's 100% that everybody goes through this. And I would be lying to you if I didn't have these, if I said to you I didn't have these thoughts every once in a while, at least once a month, if not more than that. I'm still saying, when is this ever going to break free? Because there's lulls, like there's these valleys and dips and all these things, and I go through them myself. But I also know of what you experienced, because Marcus was on the call with Steve, even Steve said it, right. Like, you're going to be doing things and you're going to see zero from it. And I believe that that's part of what the universe is about, right, Scott? Is everybody wants wealth, everybody wants freedom and success and all that, but they're not willing to do the work to get it. And it's not hard work. I'm not talking about, bricklaying and doing all these major things. It's like, but it's consistency. It's about believing in yourself. It's about showing up and serving, and letting go as much as possible the expectation of, when am I going to get something out of this? And that's why I really like, going back to blue fishing. And even, I haven't read all of Go for Stupid yet. I just started that. But this one, and Joe Polish, and all these that are just about, how do I make someone else's life better? And this
Yep.
was the catalyst. And so it was that switch of like, no, if I want to get something out of life, and then you have to do things for other people first, including your potential future invisible clients.
So, Marcus, again, as Joey said, thank you for that. And what we don't realize, what we can't know, is like the butterfly effect. A flap of the wings right now, a live you did, a post you made, an interview you did. Uh, Somebody, you said one thing to somebody in a group who shared it with somebody else, or they're head of a company, or they know somebody who this and that. I could tell you stories upon stories of all the little things that happened. It's like you and I talked doing this when Kajabi asked you to do the whole dream client piece with them to teach people that. And she went and looked at the shows. And one guy showed up here on a show that was like, I found you for searching for guerrilla marketing, because it was the title of a show. And we have no idea what's happening out there in the benefit breadcrumbs and the 4% multipliers. And this is just such an important part of it, because Marcus, you just keep doing it. And like someone says, how do you build a Facebook group? Well, when you and I started, Joey, and I kind of hung out, we've talked about this. It was you and I pretty much every day chatting with each other,
Yeah.
and then another person and another person and another person. And somebody, Jason Moffat, said, if you are not willing to spend 6 months building a social media thing before anything happens, you can't start anything today and expect it to happen. And
Yeah,
all
that's
it
why
was,
it's so about, consistency and passion, bro. Like, like we don't talk a lot about that, but if you don't have the passion for the thing that you're doing, which is why I call everybody out. I see so many threads about I've been at this for 30 days, or how long is this going to take me, and all these other things, and right away I'm calling the person out in a good way. I'm going like, look, dude, like this is a long game, and all you're hearing about is the short-term game. You're hearing about the big wins, and that usually doesn't happen. Yes, you get one odd person who can go on stage and show you a pin or an award, but it's not the way the game is played. And if you're not
no.
willing to play for the next 25 years, at the very least, then don't choose that thing. And so that's hard for people to hear, but it's the truth. And these are like that's where, at least in the last few years that I've been doing this one thing consistently, is where my market is now. And I'm leaning more into that. I'm leaning more into, these are the people that I want to work with. These are the people that, for me, and that's coming back to this whole topic of being real. Look, I want to work with these people who are in the long game. They're in the infinite game, that it's not a finite game, whereas like I'm going to run a couple of ads for a year or so, make a bunch of money, and then move on to something else. I don't want to play that game. I don't want those people. I want people who have a passion to serve a corner of the market, so that we could make the world a better place, to use the cliche. But these are the people who are willing to put the passion, consistency, commitment, all that into it.
When you talked about what are you going to do for the next 25 years, and this is
Yep.
exactly what you're going to do for the next 25 years. And in 10 years from now, you're going to have, think about this, Marcus, in 10 years, Joey's going to have 15 years of Atlas, Dream Client, Do Different, showing up as him. And think about the butterfly effect at that point. Eddie, what's going on? Good to see you.
Eddie's in the
And
house.
that's
I don't know who this is, but thank you for that too, by the way, 100%.
that, that's Chantal Carter. She's over in Facebook, I think, with the
Ah,
100.
Chantel. Okay, cool. Good to see you here, Chantel.
Chantal. So yeah, Joey, it's just, and it's because we live. I watched a program the other day on the whole instant gratification piece, and how our minds are trained, and how society and Madison Avenue have trained us that instant gratification is what
Yeah.
we need to be happy, when in essence it's not. Most of you know that last year I shut down and took Atlas and went through it for 12 weeks, just like commitment. I committed to it. This year, I'm in my first year, my 12-week year still, on figuring something out, not being in a rush to go, I got to create a product and I got to create this. It's like, no, let's just let's do what needs to get done, to be patient and consistent and keep showing up everywhere else while the rest of it gels and comes to fruition. Because we talked about this before. We don't know what's out there next.
Yeah.
Marcus doesn't know who might jump into the group or listen to his thing or that and say, huh, I like this dude. Go.
I'm just jumping off what you said. Like, Marcus here, that you've learned is to listen. If that's one thing, there's a couple things if I could teach them to you and anybody who's listening to that. I mean, my path has been almost 60 years now to finally learn. Let's listen to some people. Let's focus on them first, and all these other things. I don't regret anything that I did, but it took me a long time to get where I am, and I just want to help people get there faster. That just take this advice. It's a hard road, whichever way you choose to do it, but it's more satisfying at the end of the day when you can show up who you are and have people in your world that totally love you, that bond with you, that are epic people. You know, dude, like Scott, like in my life, like all these people that are in my life now is because of the consistency. And I know, like when I put the post out, I put a post out in our Facebook group. By the way, if you want to, I'm going to plug the Facebook group here. And again, please join us in that heart-centered group. If you are a heart-centered human, we would love to have you there. I
If
put it in
not,
there.
let's go
Yeah.
ahead and say, if you're not heart centered, go stand in another line.
Yeah, don't join us in there because it
No.
just won't jazz you up. But when I put that post out there, bro, it was not only was it scary because it's just another cement or flag in the sand or more cement on the one that's already in there. Going, I'm just going to go do this. And I know that 6 months from now, like at the end of this year, this everything will be completely different for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like, but I know. But I know. This is the way it was when I did it way back 4 years ago. I'm getting the same type of feeling. And it's not a program. It's not that, but it's like something's majorly is going to change here. I don't know what it is, but I'm scared as heck.
Good for you. Thank you for that, for the vulnerability because of everything you've done, because you're consistent, because you show up, because you've made a commitment to do all this and not veer from it.
Yeah.
That all of that, there's so much out there. I used to say when we first started doing this, you have no idea what's about to happen. None of us do. Everything that I've had from my successes over the years was because I showed up consistently. I was me. I delivered great value. And I just did things and created relationships and helped people. Still, always did that. And then one day it was like, this thing happened because of something I did. And that's the importance, again, going back to omnipresence, whatever, prefluence, the benefit breadcrumbs, the 4% multiplier is you talk about this, we talk about this. No matter what Tuesday nights, we show up and do this. No
Yeah,
matter
whatever
what
happens.
day we do this. And yeah, the rest of, okay, I don't feel like doing anything today. Great. I don't feel like doing things a lot of Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, and Fridays.
Yeah.
But Tuesday nights, it's like, okay, I might as well do some other stuff Tuesday because I've got Tuesday night.
Well, we were talking just off again before we went on and
Yeah,
about an event coming up in November,
right.
right? And I'm like, dude, okay, so I'm talking to my friend. I'm like, okay, well, what's going to happen on this night because I have Tuesday night. So it's implanted. It's part of my
Yeah.
life. So if I'm going to be here and there, I'm going to be doing this from the hotel room, or I'm going to be in the event room or whatever with my cell phone, right? Like it's still going to happen because
Yeah.
it's part of what we do, consistently showing up.
Right. And not only that, now we're looking at, oh crap, what am I going to do in 5 months when I'm
Yeah.
not going to be here on a Tuesday? How do I plan for that? And it also, again, as I said, well, there's a bunch of comments here.
Well, I
So
think it's just from Chantel again that they sold
old
convenience and
convenience and faster is better, and it's a lie.
yeah, it's
Marcus
here's
said
here's
something, I don't know. Joey, Marcus said something earlier, and maybe I missed it because I'm a space cadet. But before, what I've learned is he said, I've had to stop and pull myself back because I often seem to try and
yeah.
drop the sale.
Yeah, we
But I
put that
don't,
one up, but yeah. Oh
okay,
no, wait a minute, not that one.
I don't think we did. We think because that's an important piece here that he's sharing, but
Where's that one to fit? Stop the
it's right
fable.
before that. Well, I think it's after. It is that one. I've had to
Yeah.
stop and pull myself back because I often seem to try to drop the sale, but I
Oh
love
yeah,
got the
yeah,
note.
yeah, yeah.
So just
Yeah, I think we brought that one up quickly before we went to the next one.
okay.
But yeah, no, these are all important things because here, let me, Marcus, let me add to that. As Scott said, I've been doing Atlas now for 4 years. So this is my 10th round of it, right? And as you've gone through the process of chatting with people here and there. I can tell you that almost every time I'm in a conversation with somebody, the urge to drop the sale is always there.
Hmm.
It's always, even though I'm teaching it to you and I'm saying, slow down, you can't do that, the urge still gets there. It's like, no, well, wait, it's coming up. It's only 2 weeks away or whatever. Maybe I should, but the gold of this, which is what I'm honoring you about, is the recognition of it.
Hmm.
It's not ignorance. It's like you recognize that it's happening. Same as if an alcoholic drinks too much and like they go for the beer and like, maybe I shouldn't. Right. But if it's an automatic habit and they just do it, that's you're not in control. So you're replacing a bad habit of maybe making a sale all the time now with a recognition of reversing that habit. Of now the trigger is, wait a minute, I was going to go for the sale. What should I do next? And you create a new habit based on the old bad habit.
Yeah, Joey, I was on two different calls in the last few days. And the first one was a fellow that wanted to hire me at my consulting rate. Pretty high at this point. And it was only for 2 hours, and it would have helped him. And I went and looked at his stuff. I got on with him, and I said at the end, you know what? You got the kingdom built. You got everything you need. You're missing the front piece, but I think you can figure it out on your own. Go do it. I could have easily said, write me a check for small 5 figure, and I'll fix it for you. Boom. Real easy. 4 figures, excuse me.
Yeah.
Not important. And then I was on with someone else for 2 hours and listening to that. And she kept saying, so, what can you do to help me in that? And I said, not right now. You need to go do something first before I even consider thinking about how I might help you from a standpoint of engaging with them. So it was about pushing them away because they weren't ready.
Yeah.
And one of them I didn't want to, was not a dream client. So I was like, the money was great, 2 hours, but I'm not doing it. So
Right.
just bring that in there as well.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that today as well. Steve was mentioning, he talks about, I think it's in, like, I think it's in blue fishing, but he talks about like a chug contest or whatever, a chug exercise, basically, where if you are walking on a street and you're just basically, you start out with a list of all the people you know, including your clients, and you write them on your list, right? And you're like, and you're just imagining, and you go through the list that if somebody was walking on the other side of the street, and you saw them, would you jump over 2 lanes of traffic to go hug them, to go have a beer with them? And if the answer is no, then cross them off your list. And that's kind of what dream clients are all about. Is like, if I'm not going to invite you over to my house for dinner, not because it's a business dinner that I could write off and sell stuff through it, just because it's dinner, because it's a normal family dinner or my kid's birthday party, then you're not a client. Like, I don't want to work with you. It doesn't mean you're a bad human. It just means that we just don't align, and our batteries are not charged with each other. And this has made my life super, super easy, because right away when I get that feeling of like, this is irritating me, and if it's irritating me now, this one little thing, it's only going to amplify later, no matter how much that person wants to pay me to help them.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this. Marcus, what I've learned is to listen. Joe says to talk, communicate, and build a relationship. This is where the gold is, 100%. That's what I wanted to talk about here, Marcus, and for everybody listening, because you might think about, here's the fast way of doing things, like Chantel said, or running ads or something like this, but you're not building relationships. And I am nowhere near the fact, like what of, the masters that are in my world who do it. Steve Sims, Kevin Thompson, Joe Polish, who are masters at, relationships. Giovanni, another one. So these guys, like, that's what they do. And all I do is watch them. All I do is like, what are they doing that is building their network organically in a way that other people respect them enough to do favors or jump on Zooms and private masterminds and all that. And that's all that I've done is I've just modeled what they do. And you know what? Like what Steve said today, it's not brain surgery. It's pretty simple. And
Yeah, Joey, just I'll jump in there.
yeah,
I was on this. I was helping this individual who I actually helped 4 years ago when I was just playing with all that, and I helped her again. And at the end, she goes, what can I do to promote you? Where can I? Do I need to do it in this group or this, that? She goes, I got 80,000 people on TikTok. I got 64,000 in my group. I got 40,000. I got a list of this and 11,000. I said, nothing. Right now, nothing. Because I want you focusing on your stuff. I'm going to read this one because I love
Yeah.
it. Because
D-
Marcus, I watched the video last year of Scott, and it really resonated with me. He was helping people for years, free of charge, just helping. Then one day he said, "Hi, I'm going to put something together," and then they all knew Scott, trusted him, and took the ticket. I thought that was amazing. And yes, Marcus, that was a time when I was struggling, and Joey's like, we did that whole thing with the landing page, and then it turned into landing page opt-in formula. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 12 people into it. Boom, 12 people. I did a second one, 6 people. 6 months ago, I was in a difficult situation, and I was like, I'm going to take 5 people, and I'm going to help them. And here's how much it's going to be. And within literally 15 minutes, on a list of 16 people, I had 5 people who I had helped in the past. One said, logically this doesn't make sense, but in my heart I knew you've always helped me and never asked for anything. You've never tried to sell me a thing, so I'm going to do it. And again, it's Marcus just proved exactly what we're talking about. Is he saw something and watched it work.
yeah,
And
and that's
I
part of
applaud
the,
that.
Cialdini's laws of reciprocity. It's
Yeah.
always happening, and it's not that you go into a situation with that in mind, but understanding that the laws are there may or may not help. Because I remember first reading Influence, and they're like, okay, and I was in marketing mode. I was in like, okay, how do I employ this into getting people to reciprocate, right? But it's not that. It's, I guess it can be used for evil if you want to, but
Hmm.
it was, or manipulation, however you want to, whatever you want to pen to it. But I know that that's what's happening, and that's what happened to you. So you were giving and giving and giving, and then once you put out something that said, I'm looking for somebody, that they reciprocated and said, yep, you know what, I'm in. And Marcus and everybody else watching, it'll be the same thing for you. Because Marcus, if you're doing your marketry, which is brilliant, it's amazing. If anybody's watching, go to Marcus's page and just look at some of his stuff. I'm blown away by the stuff that you can do with wood veneers and all this stuff that he does. It's incredible. But you're showing people how to do things, and you're giving for free. And then one day you could, because you're so real and giving, you don't have to know how to market. You could just do exactly what Scott did. Say, I'm going to put together a marketry class. It's a 2-day thing next weekend, and I'm looking for 5 people. If you want to join me, it's $100 or it's $1,000. Let me know. Just DM me. That's it. Like, it could be as simple as
Yeah.
that. Just putting out the realness of the offer, and people either take you up on it or they don't. But they're not going to be mad at you for offering it if you
Joey,
if
years
you're not always doing
ago,
it.
yeah, when I was speaking a lot, like I mean 50 cities a year, I was part of an association, a national association worldwide.
Yeah,
What I would do is when I was doing a speaking engagement from a training company I worked with, if I was in Hawaii, I'd find the local association and I'd do a seminar for free to the local chapter. And over time, different people said, we need to hire this guy. We need to hire this guy. Why? Because I was out there putting out what I could help people with. And the more you do it and the more people, you don't know who's in the audience. Like I said, I was keynoting a conference and Disney was in the audience and contacted me a week later. You don't
yeah,
know who's listening to what you're doing. So thank you for plugging Marketry. I love the name. It's great. I
yeah.
know it's his name, but
Well, no, that's not his name, but that's what he does. Marquetry is an art, is a wood art form.
oh, so Marcus Marketry is not his name.
No, his last name is not Marquetry. But that's what it's called. The art form is called Marquetry. And I only
Okay,
know
thank
this
you
through
for the
Marcus now. It's like,
clarification.
so I think I'm a hero. Even at the Gio's wedding on the weekend or whatever, it was like, so have you guys have heard of Marquetry? You're right. And it's like, because I was talking to this other guy who's um, like a wood. He was doing woodworking and furniture, and he's like, so I go, so you know what marquetry is, right? And so he's like, marquetry. I go, yeah, yeah, because you're in the furniture business, right? And if I get this wrong, Marcus, correct me. But like I go, this is like masterful uh, woodworking, and that's in the industry. Like, I blew him away. This is a guy who was in the furniture industry for a while, and I'm like, yeah, man. So it was a pretty good conversation. So I stole your thunder, Marcus. Okay, so let me see. What did he say? Mine is on Wednesdays, free marketry market. So I hope to be consistent. Yeah, be consistent. More respect and more success when I turn people away or tell them it's not going to happen. So my best dream clients are those who I first said no to. How odd is that? Yeah, you'll build up your dream clients. You'll build up the ones who your dream client is about the people that you want to spend time with, Marcus. So I would, if you still don't know who those people are, then really focus on that. Like what Steve was saying today, is who are people that you would jump over traffic for to go and hug. Eddie, I'll buy you coffee and scones. Yeah, definitely, right? God bless you, Scott. I worked with businesses that I was left wondering why they accepted my money and when my framework wasn't looked at because I was ignorant. Yeah, for sure. It looks like we lost Scott. Okay. I'm sure he'll be back. And yeah, so no sell, just be yourself and work with people. Listen and care. Yes. Yes, yes. Listen and care. You're always looking for ways to help other people. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned in this last 5 years or so is how can I help the other person? Because a lot of people when they're building relationships, they are looking to help themselves. And you do want help with relationships. That's why you're kind of building them. But and even when this comes down to your clients, your dream clients, you're looking for them to help you by giving you money, I guess, right? To buy your stuff. But it's more of how do I help them first to move them along the path to where they want to go. All the stuff we talk about in Alice, right? Where is their dream island? Where's their oasis? What does that oasis look like to them? And what is their crisis? Where are they now? And where can you come in right now to not solve their complete problem, but move them toward solutions that you're not charging for. And this goes well beyond just lead magnets and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is about showing up the way that you are in the world so you don't have to change and try to manipulate or convince anybody to work with you, which is, I'm telling you, it's the easiest way to market is by just showing up being who you are. And then by giving. And the more you give, then it will return to you in different ways. And it may not be, and this is the biggest challenge for people listening or for people that are looking for immediate returns or like showing up like for results, like seeing that is this working or not. I've been posting on Instagram, I'm not getting any sales or whatever. It's the hardest part for them to hear, but it's the fact that, well, you're showing up and you're not seeing any result. But that person who you've been helping, because you're helping that person, other people are watching. You don't know who those people are. And I'm telling you, this has been the biggest breakthrough for me or realization of seeing that. So yeah, just keep consistent. So Marcus, guest is in the green room. Let me see if I can bring Scott back in here. Hang on a minute. Let me see here. Scott, there you go. Okay, cool. Scott, are you there? Or are you still having trouble with your internet? Looks like he's still frozen. Guess has muted themselves. Scott? Scott? Okay, he's not there. So we'll come back. Let me actually get rid of him on that side. Maybe that'll help him on the technical side. Okay, let me try and bring him back. No dice? Nope. Having trouble. This is what I'm talking about. This is real, right? So this happens. So, Marcus. Very interesting story about your chat with the woodworker. Yeah, I'm glad you did what you did, but not all woodworkers know about this art form, even still how to. Thank you for saying that. That's what I mean. So you see, like that conversation helped me connect, right, Marcus? And I think this is a really great story, actually. So I'm just actually I'm trying to do two things at once here. I'm trying to like Scott is in the room. He's just frozen there. I just can't get him back in the room. Oh, there. Wait a minute. I think Scott, are you there? Scott, hello, hello, hello. Yeah. So you're muted. I don't know what it says over here that you have muted them yourself. So we don't hear any audio from you, and it's a little choppy, but that's okay.
Now it should be okay.
Yeah, now we got you, but you're a little choppy, and I'm sure it'll clean up.
Yeah, there's something funky going on with the internet up here in the Northeast.
That's cool. No problem. So Marcus, and this is for
It's
everybody
horrible.
because see what now that you pointed this out, I'm gonna reverse engineer what happened, and it wasn't planned. This is not planned. So obviously, so when I heard that the person was in woodworking, I just knew because I'm listening to you. Like you're part of my tribe. So I care about what you're doing. It's not like I can't remember, trying to remember everybody's situation, right? But it's part of your part of Atlas. And so and my tribe. So I'm listening. And even though may not know all the lingo or the words or anything else, it allowed me to have another different type of bond connection to someone. And that person was the husband of another person that I was speaking to that is more in my lane because it was marketing over here, but then it was over here about woodworking, and then the conversation moved there so that bond and connection can happen. And it was all because of listening to you and looking for clues when you're talking to people or listening to your tribe. And this is meta. So this is what I'm asking every single one of you to do is to listen to your audience, like listen to what they're saying or look at in between the lines and keep information in your head. And even if you reached out and said to somebody, like, I don't know, just, it's kind of like the old days, right? Are you back, Scott, now? Or are you frozen? Oh, there we go.
I can't. Rough.
It's still rough for you. Okay. I was gonna say, Scott, like if you can hear, it's kind of like the old days. I'm dating myself now with your old Rolodex stuff, where you would put a couple of things on a paper about each individual person, so you can have some kind of reference point to talk about something, and that's what these days are for now, and everybody's life is online, and so you can easily find out about somebody or what they like, even just look at the books that they like on Facebook or something like that. But how many people actually do that? How many people take the time to, well, because they're looking for leads, right? It's like, how many leads can I get in? The leads is just a number. Well, my list is not a number. I had a conversation today with another person who asked about, the list or whatever. And I said to them, well, my list isn't this huge thing. I want to help as much as I can, but it's not this huge list of just people. I curate every single week. I'm removing people. I do list hygiene who aren't opening or that have opted out because I've asked them to opt out, all that kind of stuff. But it's more about who is on the list that is more important to me than just random people. And not only that, they're engaged. They trust me. So I want to keep that trust. And the only way you keep the trust is by listening to somebody else and having conversations rather than conversions. Are you back, Scott?
I hope I'm back. Yeah,
Yeah. You're
I
just a little
think it's
grainy, but it's
still.
okay.
Yeah, I, I, I so agree with what you're saying, Joey. It's so we have the technology that makes it so easy for us to become genuinely interested in human beings, and most are using it for the wrong purpose. They're not using. You can go. Somebody messaged me the other day and said, "We haven't spoken in a while. Let's catch up." And I said, about what? And it was like, just this, like, hi,
Hmm.
give me a shout Tuesday. And it was something I was thinking of hiring years ago when I was building out the video brand, because his partner wouldn't get on camera, speak proper English to help me with my problem. So, you know, had they go look at their whatever, Facebook, LinkedIn, blog pages, and just find out a little bit and say, hey, I saw that you went to the Jelly Roll concert the other night. Oh, what'd you think about it? Rather than, hey, are you having any problems in your business? And did you know that I specialize in doing these things and stuff that help people do these thingies? In this
Yeah.
day and age, to create the connections using the technology to create a better human connection, which is what you're expert at.
Well, I'm trying to be better at it every single day. I challenge everybody that, and this is from Kevin Thompson. He asked our crew a couple of months ago, like, how many times do you go, or this week have you gone and just reached out to somebody just to say hi or whatever like that, right? Like, what? How many times? And so he does it like he's doing like 10 a day, and that's the challenge. And now, as you know, like, I'm journaling through Notion now, so I'm making sure everything goes digitized, and I have a checkbox there that has, I think it's called reach out or whatever, like, and so it's on there, and I'm looking at, did I reach out to people today to say, and I know what it means. I don't have to explain it to myself, but I know what it means. So I'm trying to build the habit, just like the self-talk and all that stuff is. So how do I create more better communications? And I've done it a lot where it's even people who aren't clients who have, connected and said, can you give me the free thing or whatever? Like, great. And then go back and look at that conversation and say, oh, okay, like they downloaded or asked for this thing in February. Like, how did you like it? Like, anything, whatever. It's not like, hey, can I get you into Atlas now? It's more like, say, how did it go? Like, any questions, anything like that, or how's it going? How many of you do that? And I challenge you to do that. At least you start out with one a day, or two a day. You don't have to do 10. Marcus, I find myself chatting with the same people over months and months. Yes, there's no payment. It's all about helping them to get through stuff, solve problems, or answer questions. I love it. And maybe, perhaps in the future, it will lead to other things that will also help and build the tribe to become DCs. It will, Marcus. I know, like, see, for you, it's a little bit different because I know your situation. I know how you got into Atlas. It wasn't a month, like a month long, a longer process. But if you listen to some of the conversations, like some of the clips that you can see in the members area or listen to some of the testimonials or whatever, the case studies of how long people went through that. There's a reason I clipped those out for you guys so you can kind of see that people take sometimes a year, 2 years or something to go through it. And I clipped those for a reason because you came in, you're like the 10% that comes in like right away. Most people don't. And that's the way it all is. Like, all across the board, it's 80-20 for every business. And so you're looking at the 20% or hoping for the 20%, but it's the 80% that's going to make your business. It's the people that are sitting around watching you, and then a couple of years later, or a year later, or 6 months later, they show up. But the cool thing about it is what we talked about at the beginning of this, which is consistency. Because at the beginning, it sucks. It's hard. You just said it, Marcus. It's hard because there's nothing coming in. But those 80%, that people that are watching you are now in your inner circle. They're in your ecosystem. They're now 6 months in, and the folks over here that you're having conversations with, you're aware of, and you're like, nothing's happening over here. But those 6 months people are getting older or more bonded and more into your ecosystem, more trusting you. And then all of a sudden it just begins to, like, where did this come from? And if you consistently do that, then people are always in your world. It's like the flywheel that Jim Collins talks about, right, Scott?
Yeah. And perfect example. One of my clients for 4 years, Marcus, I helped her out, and it was just little back and forth on Messenger. It wasn't like I earlier that was like logically it doesn't make sense. But in my heart, you've never tried to sell me anything, and she wanted my help. I helped her. I never had an expectation of her paying me, but that's just what happens. That's how this stuff works.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we're talking about here as being real, because people can see through you, especially today. Like today, I'm telling you, like everybody can see right through you. And if you think that you're smarter than the market, you're not. They are way smarter than we are. And yes, we've seen some comments already that, we've gone down this path and we were sold the wrong thing and all that stuff. Yes, that happens. But overall, people are really, really smart. And what they're looking for, is just someone who is showing up as real as possible and not in a way that they're trying to get something from the other person. So that's what this is about today. Thank you for being here. By the way, I know, Scott, you're having a little bit of trouble here. So I will let the internet gods tell us that, okay, it's time to close shop for today. But I appreciate you for being here on another Tuesday for Marketing Made Easy. This has been an amazing show. I always love talking about this stuff. Thank you, Scott, for being here, and thank you for keep on trying to connect here. And thank you, everyone, for being here live and on the
You're welcome.
replay. #replay if you are watching on the replay. We'll see you next Tuesday.